And we are back.
We are back, Bumble Bitches.
Episode 36 of the To Be Better podcast. Season 2. Doing a thing. Before we do anything, I want to tell a story about something that's really cool that happened.
Okay. Wait, do I already know the story?
You know some of the story.
Okay, are you going to get more in depth with the story?
Yep, because you weren't here this morning when I found out more of it.
Oh, I'm on the edge of my seat.
So this necklace comes from a company called Wazoo.
Okay.
My necklace is a fire starter. Mm-hmm. This is the striker, and this little stone is a ferrocium rod. And I can start a fire with my necklace. It is just one more prep that I have with me almost everywhere I go all the time, because I try to remember to put it on every day, especially when we travel, so that I have fire at the ready in need. The founder of Wazoo, found our Instagram account.
No way.
Yes. Sent us an email and was like, hey, I saw you wearing our striker necklace on one of your episodes.
Yeah.
I want to send you some stuff. I'm like, dude, I've already bought everything that I want from your website. I own your belt. I own all your readiness shit. I have a necklace. Like, there's literally nothing more on your website that you make that I either don't have or need. Mm-hmm. And I was like, but let's do something different. I was like, send me one of each of your necklaces and whatever you want to just send me, and we'll give it away to our fans because I already own everything. I got a package in the mail.
Oh, look at that.
This is going to be me doing the package thing for the first time ever on the podcast because it's always you.
Right.
He wrote, Dear Chris, or Hey Chris, thank you for repping our gear and supporting our little company. Stumbling across the video on Instagram of you wearing the Spark necklace was like walking into a stranger's house and seeing a piece of my handmade art on their wall. It was a much needed, emotionally validating boost on this long journey of business. We are not motivational speakers, podcasters, or writers. We are just gear designers with a message, and gear is our medium. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Been saying that for a long fucking time on the podcast. He wrote, sure, we design gear to technically function as reliable, wearable tools. However, our ultimate hope is that the gear serves as a badge of pride and a token reminder of our capability, no matter the circumstances. We create resources for resourceful people. He then wrote a quote from Viktor E. Frankl, who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, which is one of my favorite books. And he wrote, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms. To choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. He said, thank you for embodying the ethos of growth and positivity and opportunity, and for sharing your message out there for others to learn from and be inspired by. You are truly impacting the world to be better. Thanks for letting Wazoo join you on your adventures. And then he signed the paper. He sent us a t-shirt.
Okay.
Which I told him not to because I don't do fabric. The tism's real.
I like t-shirts.
And he sent a super soft Wazoo t-shirt, which I think is really cool. You could sleep in that. That's a Chris size.
I like this.
It'd be a Peach's bed shirt.
Yes, a nightgown.
He sent me a black version of the necklace that I'm currently wearing.
Ooh.
Yep. He sent me a Viking whetstone pendant, which is a knife sharpener. It's a whetstone that you use to sharpen your knives.
Okay.
Sent us a Viking spark, which is similar to the necklace that I'm wearing, but it's stone, so that you can have a knife sharpener or a fire striker, which I may keep that one because I actually like the look of it. He sent us an essentials kit. And the essentials kit has 15 different tools, a whistle, a Technora cord of 25 feet, 2 zip ties, 2 foot of duct tape, ferrocium rod, ferro rod scraper, fire plug tinder, safety pins, water bag that is 1 liter, purification tablets ×2, 2 Ranger bands, which is just a bike tube that's been cut, magnetized needle, fishing hooks, fishing weights, and fishing line. This is what I have in that belt, that Velcro belt that I have that opens up down the middle, so that when I'm traveling light, I can just wear that belt and I don't have to carry extra shit in my bag. Thought that was really cool that he sent that too.
That is really cool.
This is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Okay, I'm prepared.
I'm going to read this to you. I'm going to hand you the bag, but I'm going to read you the card.
I was like, do I need to cover my eyes? I'll play peekaboo.
What do you think that is? Don't read the back of it. What do you think that is?
What do I think this is?
Yep.
Well, it feels. I don't know. I don't know what this is.
Guess.
A business card with a dual purpose.
Close enough. It is a fire starter.
Really?
It feels like a debit card. The back of it
No
says
way.
scrape. Scrape the edge of the card to make a small pile of shavings. Skip the step if you're using an open flame like a lighter. Spark. Lay the card with the corner touching the shavings and ignite the shavings with a spark. Step 3. Stand back. Brace yourself for 30 seconds of intense burnage that will leave an oily stain where burned. This is an extremely flammable card used to create immense heat to start a fire that you can keep in your wallet. It'll obviously pass any airport, anything, because it's just a card.
Right.
And I'm keeping one of these. They sent us 3 of these. The prepper in me is nerding the fuck out over this thing.
Yeah, this is crazy.
I thought this was so cool to have, and I didn't even know they existed. So I thank them for sending me that. I'm keeping that. So with that being said, I am going to give away 2 of these necklaces, the kit, and 2 of the cards to our Patreon. I don't know how we're going to do that yet,
Okay.
but I'm going to give that away. They'll just have to pay for shipping, whoever gets them. So we'll have to figure that out after the podcast, but that's super cool. I absolutely love that they sent us that. I think it's amazing. And we didn't ask for anything for ourselves. We didn't reach out to them and ask them for this. They found our content.
Right.
They obviously watched our content because they know what we're doing and then reached out to us to send us something. And I just thought that was the creme de la creme of our podcasting adventure so far with companies. Made me feel really, really good about ourselves.
I'm glad.
This made me feel good about this. I like my necklace. It looks
Right.
tribal to me. It's almost like it looks like bone, or like if they were to shave it into shark tooth or something, like it would look really cool.
Right.
But I enjoy wearing it. So definitely a really cool thing. So we can move on from that. One of the next things that I wanted to talk about was that, and we'll get into our vacation and shit a little bit, I think, as well. But you know that there are apps that you can download for Samsung devices that will scan for AirTags.
I did not know that.
There's an app that you can download, and I want to say it's like Tag Detector or something like that. So if you do not have an iPhone, you can scan your car or your luggage or whatever for AirTags. Before we sat down, I had a video pop up where somebody was at Walmart, and the story sounded like a whole lot of bullshit. But the gist of the story is that somebody tried to get lured out of the store to their car, and then the manager of the Walmart walked them out and scanned the car with the app on his phone to find out if there were any tracking devices on the vehicle. And they found an AirTag that was not hers, placed kind of under the hood of the vehicle, which led me down a rabbit hole.
Okay.
So knowing that you can find AirTags with an Android device, I was like, well, why is it just on an Android device? Why can't you find it on an iPhone? Because it's a fucking Apple product. There should be a way to just be like, search for AirTags. I've never used an AirTag. It's not something that's relevant to me. So I found something that says, if you own an iPhone and you open the Find My iPhone app, right? You can do this. I would actually like you to do this. Find My iPhone app.
Bluetooth on. And then find my.
Yeah. Do your search and just Find My.
Okay.
From the app, scroll down on the bottom right-hand corner. That should say Me. If you click on Me,
Okay.
you should have an option to customize notifications. Make sure that all of that's enabled. Because in the event that you have somebody
it's all on.
leave their, none of mine was on. None of it. Because my phone kept telling me I left my iPad at home. I don't fucking need to know that. I left that shit at home on purpose. And I understand the reason for that, but I don't use my iPad very often. And then like I would get notifications that your AirPods are traveling with me and blah, blah, blah. I had no idea that it would also do that with AirTags. So if you have an iPhone, there's how you figure out if you're being tracked with that. There are other apps that you can download from Apple's iStore or whatever that's called, the App Store. But I haven't downloaded any of them to test them yet. But I think that that's something that I would like to start looking into because we are in the third largest human trafficking state in the country.
Yeah, we are.
And even though we have what we have, there are still little ones that, and I would like to make sure that that's, I think that we should be checking our vehicles on a regular basis. You can call me crazy. If you guys wanted to call me crazy, fuck it. I don't give a shit. But to just pop that on and look to see if there's anything following with you is
right.
good. I'm glad that your shit's on. I didn't know that your shit was on like that. So,
Oh yeah, no. I went as far as to turn on crash detection. Like if the iPhone feels a sudden jerking movement, it will alert you.
yeah, it'll alert me.
Yeah, like you're in my emergency contacts for that.
I bought, when I fucking hate Apple Watches, right? Like with a passion. They never do what I want them to do. My Garmin does so much. And every time I buy an Apple Watch, it's always a new feature that sells me. Like this would be really great. And when I bought the last one, which was like the rugged one, it's supposed to be for adventurous people. I hit my brakes too hard. And it was like calling 911. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Don't call 911. How do I make this
No.
stop? Yeah. So I don't fuck around with the iPhone thing anymore. So I didn't know that you could set that to call other people. If I could change that, that's huge. I know that the Life 360 app does a lot of that shit.
Yeah.
Which is somebody that sponsors the podcast, but
We need to do a BetterHelp commercial.
we absolutely do because that's coming up due. So you're right on that. Anything on either of those two things that you want to talk about?
No.
Okay. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, and this really pissed me off.
Okay.
Let me close this window. There is, I saw two things. One of them is not really relevant to anything, but I want to tell you, and I keep forgetting, and it just popped in my brain, so I'm doing it now.
Okay.
I joined the Uncaged VIP. Zach sent me a link to actually join the VIP group, and I did, and it put me into a chat, like a Facebook chat, and my phone won't stop now, and I muted it. But in the event that you hear my phone going, it's because for some reason it's unmuted.
Okay.
So just know that that's a part of my communication network with Zach now from Uncaged. Anyways, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is while I was scrolling Facebook last night, I saw, you know, the meme of the guy laying in bed texting and the girl laying in bed texting. It's the cartoon thing. And he was like, I can't wait to see you. I miss you. And she's like, you know, you're scheduled for Thursday. And I was like, what the fuck? So I clicked the comments.
Right. I don't understand.
Sounds like some trade work happening there. Maybe some money exchanged, right? Like it's definitely not your woman kind of situation.
Yes.
So I'm fucking scrolling through the comments. And when I tell you that this thing had tens of thousands of comments on it, like it was tens of thousands of Facebook comments. And all of them were like, that's right, you don't own the kitty. You get to, it's just on loan, or it's yours for a little while, and the entire thing was about women not allowing a man to have like monogamy with them. They're not going to be monogamous in a relationship because men cheat and women have the ability to do this now too. And like, it was utterly fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Some of the comments that were going on in that. And I don't know how that ended up on my page. It was like a suggested post. And I don't interact with shit on Facebook. Like, so for that to even end up on my page, I don't understand how, especially with the belief system that we have and the way that I feel about that shit. But it utterly fucking disgusted me.
Yeah.
And because of that, I wanted to remind everyone that if you have children, if you have anyone under the age of 18 years old in your home, you really need to monitor what the fuck they're reading on the internet. Because if this is an okay behavior and they're thinking that this is an okay thing because of the tens of thousands of comments of women saying that it's okay to sleep around and fucking be as loose as, gonna end right there.
Right.
That's going to skew the cognitive bias of those young ladies going into life, and it's going to destroy their lives. I absolutely fucking am done with social media. I get on and I check our comments and I get off. I really rarely ever scroll. And I happened to be scrolling last night and I absolutely fucking regretted that. So.
Yeah, I'm very firm on the children not having access to social media until they're well into young adulthood.
Yeah.
You're gonna be driving your car before I think about you having a Facebook.
Yeah. When you can afford to buy your own cell phone, you can have one. That's how I feel about that. You can get a flip phone.
Oh yeah, to be in contact.
Right.
Right.
You can send me basic ass text messages from a dumb phone. You don't need a smartphone. When you can afford your own iPhone or Android device, you can have one then.
Yeah.
Until then, it's going to be T9 texting.
Yeah. There will definitely be conversations and just lots and lots of conversations and warnings and cautions of social media and the downward depressive spiral that most of the people on it are in. The chronically online people.
You know that that Facebook admitted in front of Meta. I'm sorry, it wasn't Facebook, it was Meta, and it was about Instagram specifically, admitted to manipulating the algorithms to make people depressed, specifically young girls, because young girls 12 to 15, 16 years old who were depressed by seeing other things online that made them feel bad about themselves spent more time online and ultimately spent money, their allowances, money from their parents or whatever, to buy products to make them feel less bad about themselves, whether it was their appearance or whatever. I have a real fucking hard time with all of it.
Yeah.
What was the thing that you saw this morning? I'm sorry. You were about to say something. You were all in thought. Did I just fuck that up?
Yeah, because I was really searching really hard for what I wanted to say, like formulating it, and that reflection is gone.
Yeah, I saw it after I started talking. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
What was that video that you were watching this morning that I sent you? Again, I was listening to music when I sent it to you, so I didn't catch all of it. But can you elaborate on that?
So the video that you sent me was that there was a study done. The study that was done, I believe it was the 60s or 70s. They were testing for levels of genius. And the tests were related to problem solving in nature. And based on the problem solving in a group of 5-year-olds, 98% of them were classified as genius level. And they continued to follow the children as they went into school. And by the time I want to say they were 10 years old, they were down to 72% of genius level. And it dropped down to, I want to say 24% by 15 years old or 12% by 15 years old. And the psychiatrist or the people conducting, this is all from memory, guys, and I'm baked right now. The people conducting the experiments were so disgusted with the results of it that they gave up on it. And they waited maybe 10 or 15 years, and then into adulthood, they decided to test a group of adults again, and it dropped down to 2%. And the head guy 100% blamed the public school system for it.
I believe that. Because we're not taught to creatively think. You and I have been talking about this so hard.
Right.
When I saw that it was the video, the reason I sent you the video was because I'm fucking telling myself. I was writing a blog post, had that video pulled up in a secondary tab on my second screen because I can take a break and just look over, right? And then I also had music playing because that's how I function.
Right.
And I looked over and saw the kids playing and they were doing canning and all of this shit. And I was like, kids 5 years old, 98% geniuses. I'm like, oh, she needs to sit this. I sent it off.
That's funny.
It was a bid for connection. I was thinking about you in the moment. And that's just the way it works.
I mean, it worked. We had a conversation about it.
We've had 2 of them now. So
yeah.
That's funny.
I love that I watch. Now you know I actually watch the videos you send me.
Right. All right, what are you reading right now?
What am I reading right now? 4,000 Weeks.
You still?
Yes. I have not read. I'm telling myself right now too.
Well, fuck it. Story time. Stories. What did Bert Kreischer call it? Secret time? Story time?
I have no idea. We can call this "Don't use this shit against me in an argument." I haven't read since vacation.
What?
Yeah.
That's not like you.
Yeah.
At all. Well, I'm getting a leg up then. Because I've finished 2 books since we've been back.
Wow. Thanks for that, babe.
To be fair, one of them has been playing in the background while playing Call of Duty, and I don't remember any of it. I'm hoping that it subconsciously took.
Right.
It was also super fucking boring, and I couldn't listen to it in the car, so I think maybe it...
Even at the high speed you listen to?
Yeah, I couldn't. It was not doing it for me. I read the 7... It was one of the Gottman books. That one was really good. I can't even tell you the name of the other book. I probably shouldn't count it.
Yeah.
I finished 1 book since we've been back.
I haven't finished anything. I'm still reading the 3rd book in the You series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoyment reading is something I haven't done in a long fucking time.
I enjoy my enjoyment reading, especially when I'm in the bath. I also haven't taken a bath in like 3 weeks.
I downloaded all the Silo books,
Oh, yeah?
a whopping 3 of them.
Didn't you do that like a year and a half ago?
I re-downloaded the Silo books.
That's funny.
I would like to read them before season 2 comes out on Apple Plus. I probably won't. I'm reading a book now called You Are the Placebo.
Okay.
You Are the Placebo ties into choice theory, and it ties into It Didn't Start With You, which was the book that we read about the Holocaust survivors who had fucked up cortisol levels.
Right.
They talk about epigenetics a lot in the first portions of this book, and there are so many fucking statistics in this book that I'm fixing to buy a hard copy of it, and we're gonna have to sit down and do a podcast episode off this book.
I love that you buy hard copies of the books that you listen to.
I do that because I know that you'll read them.
Yeah.
I know that you do the Audible thing because it's easy.
Yeah.
But I know that if I'm like, this is amazing, you're gonna read the hardcover versus listening. So it is it's also a bid for connection because I know if you read it, we have things to talk about. Did you know? Oh my God, I can't believe. Well, that makes this and that explains this situation in my childhood. It means a lot. Like there's a lot of back and forth there. And now I lost the stat that I wanted to bring up from that book. I remember that it was 80% of, but I don't remember the rest of it.
Unfortunate.
It is pretty unfortunate because it was a good conversation piece.
I believe it.
That sucks. I don't think I've got anything else. I think those were the main topics. The Mike guy that we met at the Tennessee meet and greet joined Patreon last night.
Oh, hell
or
yeah.
Discord. I saw him in the Discord last night. That's exciting news for me.
It's the blonde gentleman, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I saw my mom active in the Discord yesterday or today for the first time in a while, which means she's obviously feeling better.
That's dope.
I don't really have a whole lot of like catch up shit. We got Ivy. For those of you who don't know, our dog is finally here and trained and amazing. I believe that everybody that watches the podcast also watches our TikToks religiously, and I know that's not the case.
Right.
But because of the way that I'm posting and I'm interacting with people all the time, I just believe everyone knows everything that's going on because of the way we post. But do you want to talk about your dog? For those who didn't see it, that just happened to listen and don't like TikTok.
Okay, so we have Ivy. She's been our dog for 10 months now. She's 13 months old. Got her as a puppy. But she's been in training for that 10 months. So we've seen her sporadically through that training. She is here to be a service dog for me. My mental health needs a lot of help. And she helps. So having her here is nice.
Yeah. I love that you guys bonded as quick as you did. Yeah. When we were at the Tennessee meet and greet, we were both very, very overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I know that I don't do loud noises. Like that's never been a thing for me. I always struggle in chaotic, loud environments. And them having the bowling alley going and the loud noise of the bowling on top of the TVs playing all the lights and
the
shit
baby
going.
shower right
the
next
baby
to
shower
us.
next to it. Yeah. The fucking music that was playing really loud. Like I asked
People
them
checking on us constantly.
Yeah, it was so much. And like I found myself just staring at the fucking dog the whole time, using that as a tool to decompress. And the moment I got up and you sat down, I saw you doing the exact same thing. So she's definitely doing what she's supposed to be doing. And she's trained to perform tasks as a true service animal. So the Romulus movie for Aliens comes out next weekend. By the time this comes out, the movie will have already been released. But I thought that, like, I should surprise you with the date night. But am I going to have to buy a third movie ticket? Like, well, last night you had her underneath the fucking blanket and like you were bougie on one side. And I'm surprised she doesn't have a matching bow headband yet so that when she's getting her mani-pedis done on her feet, she can look like you. And I just really see this.
Yeah.
She's way too big to be a purse dog, but
Right.
you guys have that
I
bond.
can get her a backpack.
You could. Actually, they make tactical bags that she can carry shit. Yep.
I would love to get her a backpack.
They actually make tactical carries that she can carry a firearm on.
Really?
I don't know the legalities of it,
Right.
but they make them.
Okay.
So I Am Legend shit ever happens, you can carry an extra pistol on her fucking bag.
I would like to have that vest just in case.
Yeah, we'll totally get one. She needs to get new bite pillows.
Yeah. Throw that into our apocalyptic bag.
Fucking Zach for the win. I love you, bro. Okay. He found the 80% thing.
Oh my God, stop.
I'm going to read it verbatim because I was going to
Okay.
just wing it. This is so cool. So someone named Janice Schoenfield, I don't know if this is actually a real name, from chapter 1, who made physical changes in her brain by thinking that she was taking an antidepressant. Part of the reason the placebo worked so well for her was that taking the inert pill was a daily reminder to change her state of being because she associated taking the pill with her optimistic thoughts and feelings about getting better, as do more than 80% of the people who take antidepressant placebos. This goes on to state that people who take placebos and antidepressants such as Effexor or Prozac have just as high, if not better, results on a placebo than they do by actually taking the drug.
Really? That's insane.
Because it's the power of the brain. We believe that this is going to make us better.
Say that statistic one more time.
80% of the people who take a placebo versus an actual antidepressant have better results than the people who actually take the antidepressant. Which made me believe we don't fucking need that shit.
Right. I mean, oh gosh, that just solidifies the money grab for me.
Right. Did you know, I have a whole lot I wanted to talk on. I'm so fucking glad that he found that stat.
Okay.
Go.
I need a blanket. I want you to know every time I snuggle with you, or I put my feet on you on the couch, or I put my head on your lap, or you put a blanket on me, or you give me a hug, I think I'm the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. Where was I going?
We don't need that medicine. Money grab.
I believe, so first of all, I believe in choice theory.
Right.
Right? This conversation led into the thoughts that I was having. The thing that I was reading that said that your brain, the prefrontal cortex, or the frontal lobe of your brain, operates on two hemispheres, left and right. One side is pessimistic thinking, depression, etc. The other is optimism. And you can train your brain to react one way or the other to situations, which is why when I've always said that you can have a problem or an opportunity, and the way that you view the situation is going to determine the outcome of what's going on in your life. There have been studies done where they have wired people up and done MRIs to see the way that their brain activates, and you can change the way that your brain processes information by repeating patterns. No different than taking a placebo pill, because you are solidifying that optimistic, I'm going to get better, life is going to be good, etc. You can talk about the aspects of healing the body, right? There's a whole lot of things that have been done with placebo effects. It's a lot of the things that book talks about. Knowing that we are able to change the neural pathways in our brain, otherwise we wouldn't be able to learn new shit.
Right.
You can break generational trauma, negative thought processes, pessimistic attitude, and start finding the opportunity in things and working on a positive. You can change your neural pathways in the way that your brain works, but you have to continue to do it. And this has now been studied by scientists and proven, but most people don't have the information to figure out how to do it, so they just go about their lives, and we want the quick fix, so it's easier to take a pill than you actually do the work. Moving beyond that aspect of things, do you remember when we watched The Doors, the Jim Morrison movie? I know that you fell asleep like 3/4 or a quarter of the way through it, but do you remember seeing him and the keyboard player sitting on the beach, meditating, tripping, doing the little thing?
Vaguely.
There was a huge thing that was going on in the 60s and 70s where people were doing Eastern religion and philosophy, where they were meditating and trying to make inner peace and be more peaceful and all of that happy joy shit that they were doing in the 60s. The reason that worked is because they were dedicating 15 to 20 minutes twice a day to meditating and changing their thought process. I want inner peace. I'm not going to be angry. I'm not going to go out and hurt people and do these things. And they have their own little mantras, and they do them over and over and over again. That's the power of the brain. The brain restructured their neural pathways to believe the things that they're telling themselves 15 to 20 minutes a day. While Dakota was here, he said everything that you want to enforce with Ivy takes 10 to 20 minutes twice a day. Mm-hmm. You can create the neural pathways in your dog to respond to hand gestures or verbal components, right? Commands. It's crazy to me that we have the power of the brain that we have, and it's so just never talked about. And I also understand there are people out there who really need meds, right? I'm not downplaying that. But I think that people don't understand what depression is anymore. Everybody says that they're unhappy, they're depressed. Well, clinical depression and just having a bad day is not the same thing.
I think we also have a synthetic depression now caused by social media.
I think we have it caused by our food.
Yeah, I agree with that too. They're finding microplastics in placentas now.
In placentas?
Yes.
You know, the average human in America eats a credit card a year of plastic. It's actually like
I hate
real.
it. I hate it.
Yep. I didn't know that they found it in a placenta though.
Yeah. That was a new discovery. I want to say it was like last year. I heard about it recently, but I want to say that was announced last year, maybe the year before.
Wow. I'll look that up.
When I went to France, I didn't see a single fast food chain. Didn't see a Walmart. Didn't see anything akin to a Publix or a Kroger. It was all fresh food. And it's some of the best food I've ever tasted.
Ant said something similar about when he was in Italy.
Yeah. And all I can think about last night is you saying this tastes like gas.
It did. Mm-hmm. Our food last night tasted... I'm tasting the chemicals in a lot of things since I got sick last time.
Me too.
My nose is more sensitive now than what it was before, which really fucking sucks for me. Mm. But it's messed with my taste. I can taste things not being right. Like even the Sour Patch Kids that they sent us from Canada, those were amazing.
Right.
I can still taste that that's not quite right either. Yep, I went down a rabbit hole about mercury in our food, in our fish.
Yeah.
And the way that that's affecting our environment and our diets too. But they were saying that the things that are being discarded as waste that's ending up in our food, like as our food, is what's creating diabetes, or not diabetes, but Alzheimer's and dementia. I also have not looked into this yet, but I was told that America is the only country in the world that still refers to it as Alzheimer's and dementia, and that everywhere else is calling it stage 3 diabetes. So I don't know how true that is. That could be total bullshit. I haven't looked into that yet, but it would make sense because of the way that shit affects our bodies and it being from our food. Yep. You guys can look that up on your own. I could be totally fucking wrong on that.
I mean, I'm going to look into it, but I wouldn't be surprised if our government is forcing us to believe things that I'm seeing shit on TikTok that I don't see in our news.
Well, that's why they want to get rid of TikTok.
Right.
It's control.
There is so much. I was in the shower this morning and I was thinking about oppression, right? I've been watching, I'm on like a history kick right now. That's my hyperfixation. That's how I can tell that I'm getting back into the groove of me, because hyperfixation shows a healthy mindset in people with like ADHD and shit.
Okay. Is that true?
That is true. Yeah.
Okay.
If somebody,
I'm good to go.
If somebody who has like ADHD or ADD, don't quote me on this. I read it once and I was like, oh, that's interesting, and moved on, but it made sense to me. So I'm more inclined to believe it.
The honesty there. I love it.
It said that those people who are diagnosed with things like that, when they don't hyperfixate, that's an indication of depression. So the hyperfixation is what keeps their gears going enough to function the rest of their life. Yeah.
I'm going to say something really controversial.
Okay.
I don't believe in ADHD.
Yeah?
I don't.
No? Why is that?
I think that our brains all operate on different frequencies. And I think that we pay attention to the things that interest us.
Yeah.
And for people who have any type of intelligence, if it doesn't spark an interest in wanting you to do
They
it,
don't care.
why the fuck would you bother with it?
Yeah.
So.
No, that makes sense.
And I understand being hyper.
Right.
But I know a whole lot of adults who claim to have ADHD who are overweight and fucking sit and aren't on meds and sit around and don't do shit with their lives other than fucking eat bonbons and watch TV and talk about how bad their life is. The ADHD, you would think you would have some sort of like get up and go aspect to it, because that's what we were all led to believe when kids had ADD versus ADHD. But I think that a lot of that comes down to children. We're stripping away the creative mindset, and sticking them in a school system for 8 hours a day instead of, that with homeschooling, you could homeschool our kids in 2 to 3 hours a day. In school, they're there for 8 hours. They don't need that. That 8 hours is babysitting so that we can pay taxes. That's what it is. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that a whole lot of people are going to shit on me for that whole ADHD thing, and that's fine.
It's okay.
I like to think that we are better than a diagnosis.
I agree with that, yeah.
I think that borderline and CPTSD and all those things are very real, but I also think it's trauma and it comes from abuse. And I think that we can overcome that without meds too. It just takes a whole lot of fucking work. So, but I like to believe that we have superpowers and that this is our evolution. But that's me being optimistic and not pessimistic. Different side of my brain is working now, I guess.
Do you remember? Do you remember when I texted you? I was sitting at the bank making a deposit, and I was like, "What if?"
I do remember this. I do remember this. I know exactly where this is going.
What if mental illness is the next step of human evolution to better understand our existence?
I think so. I think that it's environmental. I really do. And obviously I'm not a scientist. I'm just some dumbass on the fucking internet. But I think that a lot of it comes down to our food and the way that we are dealing what we're dealing with our kids. And, 7 years ago, none of this shit was prevalent.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that it didn't exist. Maybe it just didn't have a name for it. But I think as the common norm, that wasn't the case. So, but I don't know. I know a lot of people who have ADHD that are very, very smart people and function very, very well when they're interested in something. I don't think I have ADHD. I think that when I get bored with something and I lose interest in it, I fucking lose interest in it. Why would I want to fixate on something that I don't enjoy?
Right.
Why are you smirking?
Because I just realized why we got on this conversation. I was talking about history.
Okay, I'm wrong. I take everything back I just said. Oh, shit.
But I don't remember why I was talking about me hyperfixating on history.
I guess we weren't really interested in that conversation, were we? That's funny.
Yeah. I'm hyperfixating on it. Like the way marriage used to be, the way courting used to be. Like the 1400s marriage between kings and queens and the beheadings because of a miscarriage of a son is just fucking insane.
Yeah, people are wild.
Yeah.
History's
oppression.
I'm glad you got back there.
That was me just saying the intrusive thought. It was like a big neon sign flashing in my head.
Before you get into that, guys, full disclaimer, we're not professionals, we're not doctors, we're not therapists.
No.
We are just two people on the internet who give opinions.
Yes.
And this is ours.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're fucking wrong and that's okay.
Yeah. I like being wrong. That means I get to learn something.
Sometimes they're intentionally wrong. Sometimes I say shit just to piss you guys off because it creates comments.
Let's wrestle those jimmies. The oppression. So absolutely blows my mind how many women in America scream we are oppressed in America.
You gonna elaborate on that?
Yes,
okay.
I'm thinking about how I want to phrase this because I want to be a bitch. But
be a bitch.
But I don't want to be a bitch because after I get that energy out of me and be like, was that a response or was that a reaction? It's 100% the pyro in me. So this is the growth treading lightly.
I think at least 1 out of every 10 episodes, we need to switch roles.
Yeah?
Yep. I think I should try to be super nurturing and loving, and you should just be brash as fuck and say everything that comes to your mind. The worst that's going to happen is people are going to stop watching us.
Yeah. Okay. I can do that.
Best case scenario, people will watch that one episode because they're here.
Okay,
to see
I can
you be
do that.
mean. Right.
I think it's absolutely fucking stupid that so many women will scream oppression in America while simultaneously having their tits hanging out. and screaming fuck all men and being promiscuous and sleeping around and getting divorced multiple times and moving on to new husbands and having affairs, and you have jobs. You're able to make money and provide for your children. I heard a story, I want to say it was like a year ago, 6 months ago, from a woman in Yemen. Who said that her husband broke her arm and she called the cops. And the cops showed up and said, if you call us again, we'll break the other one.
Yep. That's what oppression looks like.
That is oppression.
You know, all the clips that you see, because it's the whatever podcast and all those clippable things. They always ask the women, name one thing that men can do legally that you can't. In America, there's not an answer there. They always come to things like, I want to feel safe when I walk at night. I would like to feel safe when I walk at night. I go places I don't feel safe in.
Right.
That's why I carry a pew-pew or, you know, a knife, or get a protection dog, or stay the fuck home. I just don't complain about it because it doesn't, nobody gives a shit. Nobody's here to save you. Right. I'm still waiting for somebody to actually do that. And some people go body autonomy. Like, I can't do whatever I want with my body. Well, I can't either. At 20 years old, I tried to get a vasectomy and they told me no because I was 20 years old. So where does that, that's a discretion. That's not a law. That's an individual person telling you can't do something. You find a different doctor.
Right.
So, so where is the actual oppression?
I can't think of a single thing. I can think of people being shitty to women in America.
When people are shitty to men in America.
Right. But that's not oppression.
They're shitty to children.
Yeah, that's not oppression. So I can't think of a single thing.
I had, this is going to lead into a different conversation. What are you shaking your head at?
I'm just nodding. You're talking and
we had, somebody on a video that is no longer up make a comment that said, I used to love you guys, but blah, blah, blah. And it had nothing to do with anything. Like, it wasn't about our podcast. It was actually on the Life account, and it was something to do, I actually think, with Ivy. But I've seen things like that on a lot of people's pages that say, I used to love you, but. And I thought to myself, this is the problem with relationships.
that's conditional love.
It's not love. I didn't even know you fucking existed before I saw your comment.
That's right. I forgot that we were talking about a comment.
Right.
Yeah.
And the amount of people who feel the connection that they have to us because they watch our content.
We're strangers to you.
Right. I don't fucking know you.
Right.
So you being loving us, because it didn't say I love your content. They said, I used to love you, but. So what? You don't love us. You enjoy the content that we create, or you fuck with us because of our opinions. Mm-hmm. And then when our opinions no longer serve your agenda, you don't like us anymore. I don't give a shit about that. I'm an adult. I can have a disagreement or a difference of opinion and still love you. Mm-hmm. You and I have disagreements all the time. We don't always see eye to eye on things. And that doesn't mean that I don't want you around me or I don't love you and that we can't have a conversation about things. Mm-hmm. The idea that people don't understand what love is anymore. People don't understand what friendship is anymore because of friends on social media, and because a like means that you're somehow validated with the things that you're created and doing. That parasocial relationship has become a problem for a lot of fucking people, and the entitlement that people have because they think that if they announce that they don't like what we're doing or they don't like who we've become, that they're going to unfollow us, and somehow that is supposed to matter. And I understand that there are going to be a lot of creators who don't want to see their fans leave. But this isn't about fans. This is about us standing behind the things that we believe in and being our authentic selves. And my authentic self is saying that I don't give a fuck if you don't like what I'm doing, because I'm living my life and I'm having a blast doing it. And my life is really fucking good. And if you don't like that or you're salty because of it, move the fuck along. You don't have to announce your departure. This isn't an airport. Just fucking go. Unfollow, shut the fuck up, and move along. Because your opinion being negative and nasty is not going to make me change my opinion. It's not going to make me reflect on the things that I've said or my actions. If you would like to have an adult conversation where we have a dialogue back and forth, maybe. If I care enough about you, that might make me reflect on my decisions or my thought processes. I want to be challenged, but I want to be challenged in a way that is respectful, that everybody can agree is a normal conversation from we can do better. Right? Because if you're coming at me solely to change my opinion because you're right and I'm wrong, There's no room for you to grow there. And I'm not going to engage in that because there's something that I'm going to say that could make you change your thought process. And if we can both evolve, that's the goal, right? It's crazy to me that that's a thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy to me that that's a thing. This is cool as shit, though. All right, I'm sorry. ADHD doesn't exist. As I'm...
That's funny.
It's exciting. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Does that speak to ADHD or does that it speak to the kid in me that's fucking seeing something that I think is cool and being excited about it? Like, which one of those would you rather have a label of? I would much rather be like, it's cool that you're excited about something. I love that for you.
Yeah.
Right. There's your ADHD, bro.
All right. This email is titled, Should I Stay or Should I Go?
Should I stay or should I go?
Dun, 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 dun. Darling, you gotta let me know. Ba-na-na-na, that you were mine.
Where's Jenna at?
Something until the end of time.
I hope this is stuck in your head all fucking day, Jenna. And I mean that with all aggression. It's funny. Oh, it comes apart.
All right, so this one has themes of husband prioritizing mother, and the emailer feels unloved in her relationship.
Okay.
Before we even jump into this, I will die on the hill that mothers are fucking up their children.
I agree. Way more traumatized by my mom being in my life than my dad not being in it. Just saying. Way more traumatized by my mom being in my life than my stepdad being in my life.
Hello. First of all, I just want to say I appreciate your content about the masculine/feminine dynamics and relationship topics. I, 32-year-old female, met my now husband, 30-year-old male, 5 years ago this February.
Before I would like to include this. Zach said in the chat that ADHD is just a way to describe a series of functions that a person's brain typically has. And we could break it down, but that's all it is shorthand. Knowing that it's that, the societal understanding and acceptance of what ADHD is the issue, not what ADHD actually is. You're crying. You're still laughing about that, huh?
Why didn't I get my shake?
Oh, man.
Kids are fucking assholes. But it's so funny. I agree with what you said.
Okay. Any discounts? Nope, no discounts on the Wazoo thing. They just sent me shit and I'm going to give it away. I got to find a way to give it away on Patreon, though. I don't know. I could ask them for a discount code. I have the dude's email address. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll see if he'll get just a discount code for fans. I don't want a kickback. I don't want to make money off of them. I just want their products to sell. I like their shit. I'm spend the money on it.
Mm-hmm. I want to clarify. I don't think all moms are fucking up their kids.
No,
I think
of course not.
unhealed mothers.
Yeah.
Mothers not on a growing path to better themselves.
Crazy that you have to make that statement.
Because the shoe is going to fit somebody and they're going to take it personally.
Of course they are. Well, those are the ones who need to reevaluate themselves.
If it fits, lace it.
Yeah, if you heard that and you were like, I'm not like that.
Why did you feel the need to say that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you actually are and you fucking know it, which is why you felt the need to defend yourself.
Right, because when I listen to a lot of true crime and the staggering amount of mothers who unalive their children. And the people who speak on these crimes speak in generalities. And I never take any of that personally. When I hear a content creator speak in a generalized way about moms, I know I'm not part of that group. I know that is a sign to whomever falls into that category. And my first thought is, I am so thankful my children have me.
Right.
Difference in mindset.
Well, for the first year of the podcast, we always said, are you triggered, bro? Why? Why are you triggered? Maybe you should figure that out. We've moved away from that. You know, maybe we should start triggering people again.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, continuing on. We hit it off immediately. We were best friends. Oh, we are best friends.
I can't believe you would do an episode with a nose ghost. I'm unfollowing. Do you remember that?
I do. I put it back in my nose and blew
then
it out.
shot rocks, not rocketed it.
Yeah, I did do that.
We fuck all of this. All of it. I'm gonna do what makes me happy. I want to make content that makes me happy, and if I want to spend an hour and 45 minutes talking to you and do a 10-minute email at the end of it, that's what I'm gonna fucking do. And I hope that you feel the same way. This whole perform monkey shit, I'm over it. So I've had a good conversation. This has been a really fun episode for me so far, and ultimately that means a whole lot more to me than somebody on the internet complaining about what the fuck we're doing. So if you've got your panties in a bunch, guys, so why are you getting emotional over there?
Because my mental health has struggled a lot with all of this.
Yeah.
The people surrounding our life are chronically online. And even though I don't look at anything on the internet, praise or hate. I will interact with what I interact with. I will respond to what I respond to. But otherwise, I'm not on the internet. My phone is out of my hand majority of the day. And the people that surround us, not all of the people, but there are people that surround us who are chronically online. And they by proxy share information to me. And it just stresses me the fuck out.
Yeah. Are you going to get a dumb phone?
I think I'm going to.
Okay. Well, we can make that happen. We're due for an upgrade in September when the new iPhones drop. So. Okay. And mine's broken on the back because I threw it across the fucking house.
Yeah, you did.
So. And it was not an emotional throw. It was a joke.
But say you should clarify that before someone says, "Oh, see, he has anger issues."
It doesn't matter. I've said it. It's going to get clipped, and it's going to be made to look that way now anyways. But yeah, that's what happens when you make a joke and literally throw your phone over 100 feet across the house. So.
You might have to cut this, but I'm going to be totally brutally honest with you guys right now. When all of this started, it was really exciting.
It was fun.
The fucking weight that comes with having all of this notoriety on the internet. I really have to find the fucking gratitude in my attitude to keep doing this.
The gratitude for me comes from the meet and greets and the actual people that we meet who are like, hey, that tell us their stories. Like, because it's a real person. It's not just some fucking troll on the internet or a bot, you know? It comes from the amount of messages that we get that we don't open. You know, you can still read the messages on TikTok. We see all of them that are like, you guys are changing lives. Just keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. Like, those are the ones that fucking, because you could have just left a comment, said you sent a message kind of shit. So, yeah. I don't know.
My borderline is struggling with it.
Yeah. Yeah, the helping people, like knowing that we are actively changing lives has been for me the driving factor in a lot of this.
Yeah.
But I want to continue to enjoy it. And this has been way more fun than a trauma dumpster fire ass email and fucking trying to placate what other people want. Like, this is what we sat down to do. When we started all this, it was just us talking on microphones, having a good time, and then reading some emails. And we somehow got away from that because that's what people wanted. We were trying to entertain. You know what I'm most excited about right now in terms of content?
What?
Our D&D video where we're going to make a skit of us in our cloaks just being nerds. Mm-hmm. I've played it out in my head like 50 times. I'm so fucking excited over it because it'll be fun and it's creative and we can use real cameras and not just our phones. And like we could make like a little mini commercial about Dungeons and Dragons if we wanted to. And like the creative brain is there. The art aspect is there. Yeah. It's exciting for me. So.
Fucking brother Zach making me cry.
Oh, yeah. Rachel said she's going to wear her colored contacts for her Twitch stream for the D&D game. I'm very excited about the D&D game too, just because of the social interactions that come from it. But I want to make fun content. You know, the putting on our cloaks and running around and like, that shit's just giant kid shit to me. It makes me feel like I'm fucking 15 again. I love it. it's a lot of fun, and I get to do it with you. So like, it's even better. So have you seen those? Not gonna cry before I talk. Have you seen those TikToks that say, "Did we do it? Are we rich?" Yeah. For those of you who didn't see those TikToks, it literally just shows a little kid doing something, and it's like, "Did we do it? Are we rich?" And the next slide is a picture of a family.
I would come over and sit in your lap, but I don't want to make it worse.
Yeah, my back hurts way too much for that. Yep. It's why it's important to ask ourselves what success looks like. I posted a blog on chrisburkett.com today that was a thought process that I had from a Henry Rollins thing. And I'm a huge fan of Henry Rollins. His music, his anger, like just the intensity. Like, I like Henry Rollins. Don't agree with all of his shit, and we probably wouldn't get along very well, but as a whole, I enjoy Henry Rollins. And he made it popped up, and it was like, I would never step on stage ever again. You know, and that's how he got famous, was from his music. And then he got into acting and TV and poetry and writing and books. And it shows the evolution of the creative in him, and like the stages of life where we go through seasons. And at some point, things no longer serve you. And instead of being a slave to those things and continuing to do them, you find a new path and you do new things. And I feel like for me, the podcast it removed me from the slavery of the tattoo industry, and it gave me a new career path. And it's something that I've latched onto and I enjoy immensely, because it does allow me to be creative, and it allows me to have an opinion. And though the opinion may not always be the popular opinion, people still fuck with it one way or the other. And there is an art in that, because art evokes emotion in people. And it's made me want to take pictures again. It made me want to travel, and like, it's created the next season of my life, I think. But I posted it to the Discord for those of you who are in Discord. If you'd like to watch it, it's in the Ultimate Chat, the Ball Pit, and the Private Men's Group. That's what I was doing this morning when I sent you the TikTok.
Yeah. I saw you were working on it. Continue off into the email.
Yeah, oh, yeah, we were doing that, weren't we?
Yeah, we were.
We should probably get back to that.
Okay, so I'm just going to start over. We were 3 sentences in.
Go us.
I, a 32-year-old female, met my now husband, 37-year-old male, 5 years ago this February. We hit it off immediately. We are best friends, in quotations, and completely enjoy each other's company when it comes to the fun stuff: fishing, camping, cooking, and going out, etc. My husband is a wonderful person, loyal, hardworking, is a great provider, takes care of and helps everyone, such as his male coworkers, his mother, and on occasion my parents with vehicle or home repair issues, and does so much. He's a busybody, always likes to be working on a project. I am extremely proud of my husband.
That's not how I take busybody.
That is not how I take busybody either.
I'm like, damn, it's like that, poor guy.
Right. When I hear busybody, I hear
Nosy
gossip
bitch.
of the town. Going to tea for the 3rd time today?
Go like
Jeez.
this. So everybody knows that you're nosy.
Right.
Yeah. That's funny. That's where my brain went to.
Yeah. Quick timeline. 3.5 years ago, his dad passed away suddenly. Very traumatic for him. They were super close. 3 years ago, I moved in with him. 1.5 years ago, he nearly died in a motorcycle/deer wreck, and I cared for him 24/7. And 8 months ago, we got married. Before his dad passed away, my husband was a very, all caps, independent person. He communicated really only when he wanted to. After his dad passed away, he and his mother were so close that I was obviously the third wheel. Either we were at her house or ours for supper, or joined us on our outings for almost an entire year.
It sounds like resentment. right? It sounds like she feels like she's been casted aside. Obviously, she said as much.
She
as
said,
being the
yeah,
third
I was
wheel,
obviously the third wheel.
but there's a bond between the three of them that you didn't have, and you weren't there for that.
Right.
So I think that it's important to check that.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree 100%. Either we were, after his dad passed away, we were either close. Either we were at her house or ours for supper. So it doesn't say whether that was every single time. Is she over for dinner every single night? I feel like that's important to clarify because right now this seems kind of demonizing.
It does.
Without that clarification. Because if she's coming over every single Friday night for dinner because she's now living in a house by herself and her husband's dead.
Yep. That's it.
Friday nights are worth it.
Right. Why not support that?
Right.
Hey, Sue Ann, I know that you're fucking alone on the weekends. Why don't you come to the house?
Yeah.
Kids can have a sleepover. They can go to their cousins, whatever. We can get, our other aunts and cousins and uncles over, and we can have family dinners again, so that you're not fucking sitting in an empty house.
Right.
How about I understand that you've lost your husband, assuming that they're married. This is totally an assumption because we don't know if they were still married. They could have been divorced.
Oh.
The mom and the dad.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But that's where my brain went too.
Yeah.
Like I would fucking hope to God that the kids didn't marry somebody that had resentment towards you or their partner because you were coming over if I passed away. Like that's fucking, where's the compassion and empathy in that? Like,
Yeah.
put yourself in somebody else's shoes for a little while.
I'm going to elaborate a little bit further. It also depends on the outings. If you guys aren't having date nights and every time you guys go out, mom is joining, I can see how that can disrupt intimacy within your relationship. And that can be a conversation of, I need a date night. Do it once a week, every other week. But if that conversation was not had, that falls on to not communicating your needs.
You don't have to move. I can get over there.
No, I'm worried about you hurting.
I'll give you another one.
Oh, thank you.
Just to be safe. Just to make sure.
I kind of want Domino's pizza.
Oh man, the pizza thing was very heavily in the chat yesterday while we were playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And Sean and I both managed to not do pizza last night.
Oh.
But, with the bad mental health your day doing today, if you want pizza, I will totally make the sacrifice and have pizza.
I appreciate the lengths you're willing to go to make me happy. I know it's a lot. I know it's asking
really
a lot.
rough.
I know.
So hard.
All right, continuing on. And then we started weaning that off. However, my husband goes out there every day after work now to do chores such as feeding the few cows that they have.
Good man.
That is a good man. Good for him.
Mm-hmm. Hope your kids do that for you one day.
I do not see an issue with that.
I don't either.
She does because she said, however, my husband goes out there every day after work. That, however, is a transition to a dislike in my mind.
Yep. It's no different than a butt.
Right.
Okay, is this like a 3-hour drive both directions? Like, because
Right.
I could see that being problematic, but I could also see the need to move closer at that point. Maybe sell the farm. Like,
Yeah. Talking about start downsizing mom's life.
Yep.
Continuing on, I know that my mother-in-law likes me enough to have me around, but has made it clear that she would have been happier with us just... I know that my mother-in-law likes me enough to have me around, but has made it clear that she would have been happier with us just living together and giving her grandchildren, of which she knows I'm incapable of doing, and is not getting married. Us not getting married and us not getting married?
Why would that be a thing? I really hope there's an elaboration there because that's very shitty. Like that's a very ugly thing to say to somebody.
She made it clear that she would have been happier with us just living together and giving her grandchildren, of which she knows I'm incapable of doing, and us not getting married. She snubbed everything we did for our wedding to the point that I just stopped including her. That's it. That was it.
Okay, so there's no other context there. That's just ugliness. Like that's ugly to me.
Right.
That's ugly to me, regardless of the situation. Telling somebody that you know that you can't have kids, you should have just given me some grandbabies. Like, just really twist that fucking knife. Like, that's not okay. Ever.
Right.
Okay.
Continuing on. Over the last couple of years, my husband has turned into a mama's boy. He claims to take care of her out of respect for his dad, which I agree was the intent at first. It has morphed into something different, I believe. I'm a very self-sufficient woman, and he appreciates that to an extent. But as I start to take off the rose-colored glasses... So she's saying this like now currently she is now taking off rose-colored glasses. I can see the patterns that may have been there and or have developed. It is extremely difficult to bring up any feelings of need that I have, whether they be emotional, financial, etc. I explained to him that I needed you to set better boundaries, to voice my needs better, and keep my faith at the forefront.
I agree with that, but there's something more happening here.
I agree 100%.
There's a lot more happening here.
I explained to him that I needed you to set better boundaries. Meaning with the mom.
Right. So it sounds like.
To voice my needs better.
Does that mean that he's talking to the mom about what's going on in your marriage?
Right. I don't know.
Because that can be problematic. There's not enough information.
Okay.
This is one of those situations where she's dumping her feelings and not telling us what's actually going on.
Right.
Okay,
continuing on. He reacts poorly and I get dismissed often. I had told him that I don't feel valued by him. He felt bad. And then after a bit, he went into a bit of a frenzy, accusing me of pinning him down to talk, that he's feeling caged in, that I should have picked a better time and place, and that he doesn't understand why I feel this way.
So you guys are failing to communicate effectively to each other.
Yeah.
Which means this is probably making accusational statements instead of actually talking.
Right.
Right. Okay. So there's definitely a communication issue.
Right.
Why do you think it is that people do that? Do you think? Do you believe that most people out there just use that as a manipulation tactic, or
Use what?
You're making me feel boxed in. You could have found a better way to talk to me about this. Yada yada yada.
I think it can be used as a way to skirt a conversation.
I think it can be, but do you think that that's the majority of the situations? For people who are married, have a successful marriage, right? 5 years or whatever they've been. They're doing life things.
Oh, they've only
together.
been married for 8 months.
Oh, but they've been together for 5 years.
Yes.
Okay. Either way, together for 5 years, married for 8 months. Do you think that this situation is likely? Or do you think that what's more likely is that she came at him sideways? He couldn't process things because he's highly independent and has been not much of a talker his entire
Sounds
life.
avoidant.
And is avoidant and doesn't know how to process his emotions. And a soft startup would have been the move here. How about knowing she feels like he's a mama's boy, knowing that there's resentment there and there's a frustration already being had in the email that we are able to pick up,
Right.
and we don't know her. How much of that do you think he is able to pick up? And even if she tried to have a calm, diplomatic conversation, it probably came across pretty ugly because that's her person. And people tend to treat their person a lot differently than they treat everyone else in the world.
Right.
You treat your person differently than you treat your best friend. You would never tell your best friend what to do. You would ask them and hope that they obliged. People tell their partner what to do all the fucking time because there's a sense of control. We're one flesh. We're supposed to be a team, right? Like, you can, however you want to word that. How much of that do you think is accurate?
What you just said?
Or would lay into the response that she got from him?
I think that definitely plays into it.
Okay.
Yeah. He then went on to say things of a gaslighting nature of how I should be with someone better, that he's not good enough, etc. My response was, then why not be better?
I actually really like that response. Because I do believe that when people say shit like that, that
It's
is
manipulative.
manipulation.
Yeah. With a negative intent.
Yep. I believe that they do that to change the conversation from I'm the problem to I'm the victim.
Yeah, to change your aggression to sympathy.
Yep. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I do believe that there are people out there who honestly in the moment feel like they're not good enough and that the person that they're with deserves better. And that speaks to their self-esteem. But if you're married and this is the person you want to spend the rest of your life with and you believe that they deserve better, then fucking do better.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Do the work.
Right.
I believe that. Yeah, I do not do well with that at all.
I agree. Yeah. Continuing on.
Yeah.
Mind you, I was sitting at a table across the room while he paced back and forth, hardly looking at me at all during this. He said something that stuck out to me during all of it. All I wanted was your love and support. There was no mention that he wanted to care for me, that he wanted to love me. I heard something the other day where a wife had said during counseling, my husband doesn't love me, he uses me to love himself, and that hit different.
Wait, can you read? Oh, fuck. I'm so caught up on what he said.
Right. I'm caught up on what he said because I'm so confused. Okay. He said all I wanted was your love and support. So there was no outline of a schedule when the mom was coming over after the death of her husband. If she's coming over once to 3 times a week, and every time she comes over, you're causing an issue, you're not being supportive. That's being disruptive. That's picking fights when there shouldn't be any.
I agree.
So if that's the background, if that's the force behind him saying all I wanted was your love and support, I fucking agree with that.
What more do you want from a person?
She
Right.
wants it to be all about her, though.
Right, but isn't love and support, isn't that what a marriage, a union is supposed to be? We're
Right.
supposed to be a team. We're supposed to be here to help each other and lift each other up.
Yeah.
So if somebody says it to you, all I wanted was your love and support, they obviously don't feel loved or supported. That's what's being said right there. I don't understand how you can take that any differently unless he's using it solely to manipulate her. I would also like to point out that he was pacing back and forth and not looking at her. That could speak to a whole lot of neurodivergent shit. That could speak to guilt. It could speak to trauma.
Yeah.
It could speak to maybe he hasn't processed the death of his dad yet. Like, there's a whole lot that could be going on there. And to just make it about he wouldn't look at me, why? You guys get hung up on shit too much. You are viewing life solely through your lens and not looking at what your
Yeah.
person's going through.
Very much wrapped up in her own feelings in this.
What are you feeling right now? Why not ask that question? How hard would it have been to have probed a little bit? Why would you say that? How could I love you more? Right?
Continuing on.
Yep.
I have found in myself recently that I go looking for validation in my relationships.
Can you read the therapist thing?
I heard something the other day where a wife had said during counseling, my husband doesn't love me, he uses me to love himself.
And what did she say after that?
That hit a bit different.
So you're applying something that you heard on the internet about another person's marriage that you know absolutely nothing about, and you're trying to make it about your marriage. And I'm not saying that you can't do that because that's the entire premise of the podcast.
Right.
We tell these stories because some of the shit that people are going through, you can apply to your life and grow and be better. But you took a simple statement that you somewhat related to because of the way that you're feeling right now, and that hit different. You still haven't asked your husband what he needs to be loved more. Have you guys had that discussion? We don't know. This is
Right.
very vague.
It is. It's very vague. So, continuing on. I have found in myself recently that I go looking for validation in my relationships. I think everybody does. When I reach out to Janae with something, I will say I need validation, I need reassurance, I need an opinion.
Right.
Right? When I come to my husband about things, I will let you know what I need from you in that moment. I 100% seek validation in my relationships. And if the validation I am seeking is fucked up, you need to tell me that. It's part of the trust in the relationship.
Well, that's the economy of a relationship, isn't it?
Right.
Like that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be the quality of the bond that we have. You should be validating each other, and you should be checking in on each other when they're not okay. It's the whole point of the check-ins. They're clearly not okay.
Right.
I want to know why she has resentment towards the mom and why he feels unloved. If this was a Zoom call, I'm latching onto that like
Oh,
a
yeah.
fucking dog on a steak. I want to know why this is a thing for both of you. This is where you guys need to be talking, because you've told each other what's going on. It's very fucking clear, and you're not resolving it. You're just suppressing and moving past things.
Right. Continuing on, that I want to love someone so much I'm okay with loving crumbs and scraps, although he is 100 steps up from previous relationships. I have had an awakening of true self-love and value. I want to be a godly woman and be a person of my word, but I also have dreams and feel that my peace and purpose are valuable too. I would appreciate your thoughts and advice. How do you know what's worth fighting for?
I need you to read all of that again, because all of that just triggered the shit out of me.
I was reading that and it popped into my mind. You need to let your husband know whether or not this is cognitive bias. And I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if this is your cognitive bias, because that also hit me the wrong way. There was zero information in this email besides you are unhappy in your relationship and you're very clearly blaming your husband and the mother-in-law. But there's also no real substance as to why you're upset with them. It's all rooted in your feelings of situations or things that have been said.
Right.
This sounds like we are so accustomed to throwing things away that we just do it and buy something else.
We're disposable.
Yes.
Everything's disposable. That's the world that we live in right now.
Right, but that's how that sounds.
Right.
That sounds, he's not meeting what I want right now in this moment, even though he's having a hard time or his mom's having a hard time.
How often you throw away some shit you got emotional attachment to?
Me? Specifically?
In general. Even if the shit's broken, if you got an emotional attachment to it, it's really fucking hard to throw it away.
Right.
Where's the emotional attachment?
Right.
Can I see that? I would like to read that last part again. Ugh, I feel like Peach is over here. Should I glasses change? Highlight as I'm talking? I found myself recently that I go looking for validation in my relationships. They've been together for 5 years and married for 8 months.
Correct.
So in what relationships are you going to look for validation? In previous ones?
Oh, I don't know.
Are you not doing that now?
Somebody, I wouldn't do this normally, but someone on Patreon said she started this email with all of the praise and now he's crumbs.
Yeah.
That is a very good point.
I want to love someone so much I am okay with crumbs and scraps. That was the thing I got hung up on. Although he is 100 steps up from previous relationships. So you're saying that he's better than anyone you've ever been with by hundreds of steps. And you want to love someone so much that you're okay with crumbs and scraps. You married somebody that you don't love that much?
That's what that sounds like. That's how that comes across to me.
Right. Why would you marry somebody that you're okay with? Why would you want to love somebody enough that you're okay with crumbs and scraps? You should want so much more than that.
Right.
But that takes work. Where's the work being put in to make sure that you guys are taking care of each other? There is a disconnect, and they're not open communicating with each other at all.
No.
How do you know what's worth fighting for?
Based on the standards I have set for being in my life.
Do you want to thrive in your marriage?
Right.
Because that doesn't take a fight. That takes a conversation. Sometimes it takes hard conversations repeatedly. Why are we fighting for anything? We were in love once. Are we not in love now? Because if we're not in love now, we're wasting each other's time. If we're not in love now, are we willing to do the work to fall back in love, to be the people that we once were? Was the relationship good enough? And do you still like me enough as a person for us to reconcile and fix this? And if it's not, we're wasting each other's time. It doesn't have to be a fight. It doesn't have to be an argument. It should be a conversation. You want to be happy and I want to be happy. Can we be happy together? If we can't find a way to make each other happy, do things to serve each other, to make a fulfilling life, this ain't it.
Right.
But the conversations need to be there. He doesn't feel loved. She doesn't feel appreciated. And she feels like a third wheel in a marriage with his mom. Mm-hmm. Does that mean that he's spending too much time with his mom and not enough time with her? Maybe. Maybe they don't have date nights, like you said. Maybe she doesn't have self-care. There could be a whole lot of things there that we don't know about. But the reality of this comes down to she holds resentment towards him because of the relationship that he has with his mother, who just lost her husband, and he doesn't feel loved and supported.
Yep.
There's your answer. That's the conversations that need to be had. Let's do one more since I don't have to deal with the phone call with Kara now.
Okie dokie.
I don't want you to ever accept crumbs from me or scraps. Look at me, woman. I don't ever want that to be a thing. I know that you love me, and I know how you love me. And if you feel like you're getting crumbs and scraps from me and I'm living my life and you're not a part of it, you need to correct that.
Okay.
Like way before it gets to crumbs and scraps, because I don't ever want us to be that disconnected.
Okay.
Like that is not a relationship. It's not an intimate relationship. It's that you wouldn't accept that from friends. You wouldn't accept that from family. If people aren't invested in you the way that you're invested in them, why would you be there? I don't want us to ever get to a point where we're not a full course meal.
Okay.
Okay.
This one is titled Patron, Why Does It Hurt?
Patron.
So themes, commitment issues, deception, cheating, communicating after a gap in relationship, incarceration, drug possession resulting in a felony, and using your partner.
There's a whole lot there, huh?
Editor's note, this is a lot. This behavior is certainly not acceptable and is downright awful. There is a question at the end of the original email, but there is some ask for validation. The emailer may be somewhat mentally conditioned against her own best interest and is seeking some amount of validation, ultimately an insight into why she is acting against her own interests.
Do you have the mental fortitude to do this one, or you want to wait and do a different one?
Wait to do a different one.
Okay.
All right, this one is titled Aid in Better Understanding Myself with My Emotions.
We'll save that one. We'll do that last one as a Patreon email when we do the live on Sunday.
Okay. Themes, how to deal with anger that seems to have no cause. Update, emailer updated to say that he is getting better with his anger and communication, but would still like input on how to continue to improve.
Okay.
Hello, my wife and I recently started listening to your podcast. She found you on TikTok and we love it. We haven't gotten very far due to us pausing your podcast to sit and discuss a topic you guys bring up and then spiral down a rabbit hole of other related topics.
I fucking love that so much.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite things to hear.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to side rail too far, but we know that studies have shown that people spend less than 35 minutes a week in conversation that's not bills, chores. If you listen to a single podcast and it gives you 45 minutes of conversation in a day, you're already double what most people get in a week.
Yep. It has helped give a better sense of where we stand in parental or relationship areas. No, we are not parents yet, but it is in our future.
We just made them have check-ins.
We did. Yeah.
Manipulating the fuck out of you guys. Do your check-ins.
Yeah. Continuing on. Mm-hmm. We like to fantasize about how we'd be and how many kids that we'd like. For a bit of a backstory, we've been married for a year and are trying to keep our marriage from hitting a plateau in a sense. After a year? We're both working on getting ourselves into better habits and mindsets. It started with our financial situation, and now she started with her anxiety. I am trying to work on my emotions, my anger. I've recently fallen into an angry rut or patch. I'm not angry at anyone or anything in particular. It seems to be at whatever is in front of me. It's never resorted to violence, but little things that shouldn't set me off do. I'm unsure why, but it has resulted in me getting angry in discussions that I shouldn't be. I don't want my wife to feel like I'm angry with her. It feels like I'm angry at the world for no good reason.
This all started with financial issues.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is stress. And him not knowing how to deal with it.
Right.
Okay. Just putting that as a mental check mark. This all started with finances. So this is a financial problem. I would also like to point out that anxiety just rarely pops up. Like it's something that's normally kind of an ongoing thing, unless something triggered the anxiety, but we don't know. So a mental check mark on that too.
Okay. Continuing on, it keeps getting worse as I get older. Sometimes it gets to a point in which I want to drive my fist through a wall. I do manage to calm my anger down, but it is becoming more and more difficult. Simple conversations, financials for example, end with minor arguments and us both shutting down. Something my wife has pointed out that I do. I would just like to know if you have ever been in this position before you managed to find your groove, so to speak, with your wife. What advice do you have for me? My wife has already told me that I should seek a psychiatrist's help, but I wanted to know if you have had any experience with this problem. So clearly they're talking to you. Is there an outlet that would best help me deal with my anger?
Get your finances in order, first and foremost. Money's stress, and it'll never change. Like, money will always be stress. The things that you stress out financially will change. When you're broke, everything is a fucking problem. When you've got money, it's just bigger fucking problems. Unless you have true financial freedom, you have to worry about shit like lottery winners or something. I want to point out that you are an emotionally unregulated man. If you're getting angry and wanting to punch holes in the wall, why are you allowing that to get to that point? You and I have never been that way, ever. I have never let you see like the truly ugly side of me. You get Bruce Banner that's starting to transition sometimes maybe into the Hulk, but you've never actually seen the Hulk. Like, that doesn't need to ever come out. So if you are a man who's getting angry, you need to figure out what the fuck is going on in your brain and understand first and foremost why you think it's okay to behave that way in front of your woman. Do you want your woman to fear you? Do you want her to walk on eggshells and be afraid to have conversations with you? Do you want the emotional security to not be there? Do you want her to feel unsafe and scared of you? Because that's what's going to happen when you act that way. As for resources, you need to fucking count to 10 or catch your breath or pause the conversation and go, I don't know why this is bothering me right now, but it is. And then maybe have a conversation about what it is that you're feeling with your wife so that she can understand why you're feeling that way. And you guys can work from that point versus just trying to have a conversation through anger. Mm-hmm. If you love your person, you wouldn't want to treat them that way. I believe that.
I agree.
I think that when it comes to you being okay with that, that speaks more of the possession of your person and less of the love. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. That word that to a way that conveys.
That made sense to me, yeah.
I think that's why people are so hard on their kids. Because my kids, treat them out, fuck them, I treat them mine. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to do what the fuck I tell you. Can't do that in a relationship.
Right.
In any relationship, including relationships with your kids, because that is a relationship. There's got to be a better word. Am I just not like educated enough?
For what?
For a relationship. A relationship is the common bond between two people that's agreed upon, right? So a relationship may have the brother-sister title, but it's the way that you treat each other that makes a relationship. We use the word, and I'm using the word relationship because that's the only word that I have for that. Is there a better word for what I'm trying to get across other than relationship?
Well, bringing in like family ties, I think that's relative. I would refer to that as a relative because of the blood bond there.
Right.
But I can't think of another term for relationship on the basis of a foundation.
But that blood bond speaks to the blood bond and not to the way that they treat each other and
right. That's why I said relative.
The relationships that they have formed as people. Because I have blood bonds with people that I don't speak to because our relationships are fucked up.
Right, but they're still a relative.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a relationship with them, and that's why I think relationship works for what you're trying to describe.
Yeah, I feel like there's got to be a better word. I think that I just don't have enough vernacular. I don't know. I'm sure that partnership doesn't work though, because that speaks to a relationship between two people in terms of marriage, partnership. That's how I view that. It doesn't speak to the relationship that you have with your kids or with your best friend or your coworkers. Like, you have relationships that vary, but when you hear relationship, you always think boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, wife, husband, whatever. Like, you don't think the bond between two people is the relationship.
Bond, then.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess bond would probably be the right word. Anyways, I don't have anything else to that email. I think dude needs to figure out what the fuck his demons are and work on those for the sake of his wife. If for no other reason, just so that you don't become that fucking person to your woman, you need to work on your anger. With that being said, guys, remember you are the authors of your own life.
So grab a pen.
And we will see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.